Welcome, my fellow imperfect humans. Welcome to the You Get To podcast, episode 4. You get to love who you love. I'm your lovely host, Sarah Larkin. Today is Valentine's Day. You guys, I cannot believe that I am sitting here recording a podcast on Valentine's Day. This is something that my past self could never imagine happening. Number one, it's a podcast. Number two, it's on Valentine's Day. For the past 19 years, I have been a florist, and Valentine's Day is like the floral Olympics. It tests your mental strength, your physical stamina, and definitely your grit. Most years, I cried at least once from the immense pressure and the physical pain of standing in one spot for 8 or 10 or 12 or 14 hours a day, day after day. I prided myself on my focus and my speed and my ability to perform at a high level under pressure. But the gifts and the insights that Valentine's Day gave me about my grit and my ability to focus and produce quality arrangements quickly weren't enough to compensate for the toll that it took on my family or my mental and physical well-being. So this year I set out to do it differently. I set out to do it my way. I decided I wanted to serve my customers and myself. Go figure. So I encouraged my customers to order early so that I could plan. I set limits on how many orders that I would take, and I worked on being okay with the unknown so I wasn't a stress cadet for the weeks leading up to Valentine's Day. Instead of fueling myself with caffeine and sugar like I normally would, I ate vegetables and lean protein to fuel me. I hydrated instead of, limiting my liquids to only caffeinated things so that I wouldn't have to stop producing and go to the bathroom. This year, I took breaks to stretch and to sit and to go to the bathroom. I practiced believing that whatever came my way, I would be able to handle it. My fear was that I would, totally skunk out and not get any orders. And my dream was that I would, hit max capacity and pay off my credit cards and put some money into savings. And what ended up happening was really somewhere in the middle. But if I were to believe that my past would predict my future, I never, ever would have dared to dream or been able to reimagine what my Valentine's Day could be. I would not be sitting here recording this right now. And I am so excited to be here in this moment recording this. This marks a shift in my life, a shift towards well-being and a moving away from the status quo, a going forward to a life that serves me instead of sucks me dry. I don't know about you, but I think that's a really good thing. Today I want to talk about love. Since it's Valentine's Day, I think it's the perfect day. And more specifically, I want to talk about LGBTQ love. This is a super vulnerable and scary topic for me to talk about and to put out into the world. But my new motto is to lean into the things that scare me. So here we go. A little background on me. My mom and dad had me when they were pretty young in the early 80s. And after a short time of being together, my dad came out as gay. So I don't really have any memories of my mom and dad being together. And at that time, custody was primarily awarded to mothers. And so I mostly saw my dad on the weekends. My mom's family are devout Catholics. I grew up going to Catholic school and Mass every Sunday. I was among the first to become an altar girl at my school. I was very proud of that. I sang in the church choir, and in high school, I worked for years as a receptionist in the church rectory. And over the years, I experienced a lot of internal struggle with the values that I was being taught at church and in school. I had trouble rectifying what the Catholic Church was teaching me about gay people with my own very personal experience of my gay father. I remember in 4th grade running out of the classroom crying because I learned that people who weren't baptized didn't go to heaven. My dad was gay and not baptized. What would become of his soul? Later, I found out he was baptized, but in that moment, it didn't matter. In that moment, my heart broke for my father and for me. I kept my father's sexuality a secret from most of my classmates. I walked around with shame and fear and worry for the father that I loved so much. I felt like I was the only one in the world who had a gay dad. I certainly didn't know anyone else who did. Most of my friends' parents weren't even divorced. So I had like a double whammy there. The weight of it at times was crushing and definitely isolating. I cried myself to sleep many nights because I needed to get it out somehow, and nobody knew how to talk about it, so we didn't. It was definitely the time of don't ask, don't tell. I was walking around with nobody asking and me not telling. When I was 14, my dad found an organization called Collage, which stands for Children of Lesbians and Gays Everywhere. It was the first time that I met other children like me. I was a teenager, so of course I hated every minute of it. I was, sulking in the corner and not participating in any of the goings-ons. But knowing there were others out there like me changed my life, even though I wouldn't or couldn't admit it at the time. It's where I met my best friend. And I started to think about my father and my life a little differently. After a few years of having a community that supported my dad and I started to dip my toe in advocacy work. My dad and I were interviewed for an LA publication. There was an adorable picture of us, side by side, me with my braces. And there was a big headline that read, "I love my shopping dad." It wasn't exactly the quote that I think my dad and I would have chosen, but it made us laugh. I went on to share an article with Nancy Kerrigan in Cosmo Girl about our alternative upbringings. and they sent a hair and makeup trailer up to my dad's house in the Hollywood Hills, and I felt very special. But I only accepted the interview after I learned that the issue would come out after I graduated from high school. So I didn't have to deal with any potential fallout or uncomfortable conversations. My last appearance in the media was on the Lisa Show. It was an episode called Love Makes a Family. This was the first and last time that I shared my story on screen. I was very excited about it. I got to leave school early and bring a friend with me to the taping. But something happened that day, and I haven't watched it probably since it was recorded. So I don't remember exactly what was said. But there was some sort of questioning around my sexual identity. I was not prepared for this at all. I was 17 and pretty much had no sexual identity except this on again, off again thing with a friend from my all girls Catholic high school. I think that I ended up mumbling some sort of, standard, I don't like labels response. But I remember being inherently uncomfortable with the line of questioning because it seemed to me that if I were gay, it would be linked back to my father or seen as his fault. I was fiercely protective of my father. If I was indeed gay and that would reflect poorly on him, I didn't want to be in the public eye anymore. And so I closed the door on public LGBTQ advocacy after that appearance in 1999 in order to protect myself and my family. And then, I went on to college and I met my future wife. 20 plus years later, here I am. I am a divorced queer woman sharing my story because it matters. It matters to people who feel alone, who worry about being disowned by their family if they come out, who worry about being beaten up or killed for who they love. It matters for those who have dreams of having children but don't believe they can. It matters because it is a matter of the heart and the spirit. Being able to share and express love is a basic human need. To live in shame and fear and worry that you will be ostracized or disowned or mentally or physically harmed because of who you love, it erodes your spirit and it leaves you incapable of living your true, authentic life. If you're out there and you're feeling scared and alone, I want you to know that I see you and you are not alone. There are so many people out here waiting to love and accept you. If the family that you were born into or the community that you live in do not cherish and celebrate the amazing person that you are, get out as soon as you can. They don't deserve your presence. Go find your people because we're here. We love you. We want you to go after your dreams. Don't settle for anything less. Do not give up. I love you. And the world is a better place because you're in it. For those of you listening that may not share my view, I invite you to consider what it might be like to choose love and to celebrate the beautiful rainbow of diversity that exists in our world. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe to this channel or check me out on Facebook and Instagram at Coaching with Sarah Larkin. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, please, please share this with them. Tag me on social media and let's spread love. Happy, happy Valentine's Day from my heart to yours. Bye for now.